Hi, let's come to the second part of our discussions, where we will discuss four possible scenarios for the global economy after COVID 19. These scenarios have been developed by ING and it's available on think.ing.com and it has been authored by Karsten Brzezinski and Jane Smith. In these four scenarios, we try to map out the hit to the global economy and possible path for recovery under four different coronavirus scenarios. And these scenarios are a prediction for next 1 to 1.5 years. And they have been developed on the basis how the virus, the lockdown measures, and consequently the different economies are going to evolve. Of course, it's needless to say, even these scenarios cannot try to fully predict reality, but we hope that it will provide a benchmark for both extreme cases and a middle ground. And in each case, we have also laid out some possible health factors that may be driving these scenarios. So the four scenarios are: scenario number one, base case; scenario number two, winter lockdown return case; scenario number three, the best case; and scenario number four, the worst case. Scenario number one, best case. So our assumptions are fully lockdown will end by summer and it will vary by country, of course. Global travel will remain restrictive. Home working will stay in place where possible. Social distancing will remain a feature for the next 6 to 12 months. And winter outbreak will be more manageable. And the possible health drivers would be widespread testing, which will give us better data on possible winter outbreak, the number of infections, the spread of infections, the immunity level, etc. Better contact tracing will help in manage other outbreak without full lockdowns. And progress made on vaccine by year end but may not be widely available till 2021. There will be critical care surge capacity increases, and there may be certain drugs available to reduce time in the hospital. As a result, the economic recovery will be U-shaped. Still, most countries will experience a more severe contraction of economic activity and a financial crisis. Scenario number two is the winter lockdown return case. Here the assumption is lockdown will end by summer but will come back over winter. Global travel will remain restrictive. Home working will stay in place where possible. And social distancing will remain a feature for the next 12 months. And winter outbreak is not manageable. Some countries will be unable to test all people displaying fresh symptoms, reducing visibility on winter outbreak. Antibody test will show only a small percentage of the population has gained immunity. Progress made by vaccine by year end but not available until 2021. Critical care surge capacity increases, but second virus wave is larger in some areas. So the resulting economy will be a W-shaped recovery. GDP growth would be lower in 2020 but higher in 2021 than in the base case scenario. However, it will take until late 2022 before most economies have returned to the pre-crisis level. Scenario 3 is our best case scenario, where the Western world follows in the footsteps of China by ending the lockdown as soon as the curve of new infections have been flattened. So there will be full lockdown end by the end of summer, and of course it will vary by the country. Global travel will return close to normal. Business and trade, particularly the world trade, will return to normal. Social distancing will be phased out over the summer, and winter outbreak will be seen as less likely. And the possible health drivers would be widespread antibody testing, which will reveal that large chunk of population already had virus and so are immune. Warmer weather sees case growth drop noticeably over the summer months. Vaccine developed and enters mass production sooner than thought. And forthcoming research will suggest that immunity of the virus should prove long lasting. Even so, some economic losses would not be offset immediately, but government measures like guarantees, liquidity support, and short term work scheme will foster a quick and strong rebound, notwithstanding some differences across the countries depending on where the lockdown measures end. So, we will see effectively a V shaped recovery scenario. In this scenario, most countries would experience a mild recession of some 2 to 3% year on year, but growth in 2021 would accelerate and will return to pre-crisis level in most of the economies. The scenario 4 is the worst case scenario. Here we assume that the lockdown measures last until the end of the year. Global travel will remain restrictive. Home working will stay in place where possible, and social distancing will remain a feature for the next 12 to 18 months. And winter outbreak is not manageable. Possible health drivers for this scenario are countries are unable to test all people displaying COVID 19 symptoms. Antibody testing has been not rolled out to the masses. Therefore, we have a limited visibility on the percentage of population that is now immune. Vaccine is unavailable to the masses for at least next 12 to 18 months. Immunity is found to be short-lived, and all virus shows sign of immunity. In this scenario, most economies would experience an unprecedented and almost unimaginable contraction in 2020 and 2021. Maybe 50% quarter on quarter annualized basis. The year 2020 would go down in history books as one of the most severe recession ever recorded, and many of the economies will shrink at a double-digit rates for the year as a whole. The rebound in 2021 would be relatively muted, and it would take at least until 2023 before most of the economies have returned to the pre-crisis levels. So, these are our 4 scenarios: our best case, our winter lockdown, the best case, and the worst case. Let's hope with the technology and discipline, our best case scenario will fructify and the people are healthy and the economy rebounds. Now, coming to the last part of this discussion, I have prepared a list of industries which have been severely affected, and we will also enlist a list of industries which will show a great promise in terms of innovation, in terms of growth, in terms of bringing health as a priority, and also helping the economy to rebound and grow. So let's start with the industries which have been affected the most. I have a list here based on my research of ILO, Economist, few videos which have been circulated by friends, World Economic Forum, and newspapers including The Guardian, New York Times. So the industries which have been affected are retail, as the priority for the citizens now is to focus more on health, on family time, social distancing, so there is a less opportunity to go out, and also risk management in terms of saving cash for the foreseeable future and investing it only in important items like housing, food, heating, and education. The second industry which have been affected is, of course, travel and hospitality, which have been directly affected by the lockdown measures, people going out less. Automobile industry, people buying less of cars and other transport mode, and also other means of transportation like public transport and private transport like airlines. 2 weeks back, Norwegian Airlines filed for bankruptcy, and many other airlines have requested government support, including Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Atlantic Australia have gone into administration. Lufthansa has asked for government support. British Airways has forecasted making redundant around 24,000 of their employees. Ryanair has forecasted 12,000 employees to be made redundant. And overall industry, air transport industry is predicted to lose around 200 to 250 billion in next 1 year. Entertainment, including cinemas, film, live sports, stadiums have been affected due to lockdown. Restaurants, real estate transactions, and construction industry. Though UK government have allowed HS2 project to go ahead and some of the construction activities to go ahead if they follow the social distancing rules, still, as per one of the reports, the real estate transaction have seen around 60% drop in terms of numbers, and in terms of value generation, construction industry slash activity has seen around 40% drop. The last one which I have in the list is the luxury goods industry. Because of the rationing of the cash the citizens would like to invest, luxury items are last in the list. But I read a very interesting article last week, which that economists have termed as revenge shopping. So what happened that after the lockdown was eased down and stopped in some regions of China. One of the luxury goods store saw highest possible sale in the last few, say, 1 or 2 years. Some 1.2 million of sales in one particular day. I think it was in Shenzhen or somewhere. So this phenomenon, economists have termed revenge shopping. That means the pent-up demand, the urge to spend by the luxury shoppers, which they were not able to do in the last 3 months of the lockdown, they come out and shop. So that's for the industries which have been affected adversely. Let's come to the last part where we see the industries or the economy which are going to grow and have a good positive effect in the society, in the health and economy of a country. We predict that gig economy is going to expand and grow. It means that we will see a reduced trend in long-term contract. For example, if I'm in a job, I have a long-term contract, I do the job for a company. For example, I'm a financial modeler. I do say 6 or 7 projects in a year. So even, for example, during the Ramadan period when there are less projects in Middle East, even if I'm not doing work or my utilization is less, I still get paid. But take an example of the gig economy. For example, an Uber driver. So Uber driver gets paid based on the journey one undertakes. So, for example, from Canary Wharf, where I live, to the Mount Street to my office, I go to the mobile, I book an Uber, I go to the office and pay the Uber driver for that journey. Suppose there are no travel journeys or there is a reduction in the journey, so the Uber driver doesn't get paid. So given the experience during pandemic, we will see various corporations and firms going the gig economy way. So I'm a financial modeler. I will not be paid if I'm not working on a financial model or an analysis, but I will be paid based on the time invested on a project, based on my utilization. The second industry which I've enlisted is online or digital learning. From your experience, you may have seen even you're working from home, you are able to connect to your colleagues across the world to complete a project or a task. If you have kids, your kids may be doing some homework or learning from school on Zoom or any other media like Skype, etc. You may be able to take a break and do your yoga or your gym or taekwondo or karate from your master or a coach, being streamed live or recorded just with the help of a good internet connection on a laptop or a PC. So how it's going to involve that you will see many corporations coming up with various other tools to make this experience seamless, more live, more user experience, good experience. We will see lots of innovation in technology and the content. The third industry which will see a good growth will be healthcare industry. In the last 3 decades, we have seen a gradual decline in the investments of healthcare. It may be in research and development, hiring of doctors, training of nurses, investment in real assets like hospitals, primary healthcare centers. But given the experience, we will see a surge in the investment in healthcare. The last industry which we will see, which we have in our list, is green energy. Though there have been an effort in the last 2 decades to move towards more sustainable form of energy like wind, solar, wave, we will see an upsurge in the investment and efforts in alternative green source of energy to make, which is driven by various facts, including more responsible citizenry, the experience from COVID-19, that how the irresponsible act of humans is affecting climate and hence the health and the well-being of the citizens. So that's in our list. To conclude, we saw this pandemic from various points of view, starting from World Economic Forums on the 10 risks or the trends in the coming year and decades. Then we went on to the 4 scenarios done by ING on the post-COVID economic world. And at last we saw or listed various industries which have been deeply affected adversely and industries which are going to grow in the post-COVID world. I will conclude this session with my thanks for listening and giving me an opportunity to discuss various issues regarding COVID pandemic. Let us hope that we will come out stronger, will come out more wiser. And to conclude, let us pray for the people who have been affected by this pandemic in terms of health, in terms of mental stress, in terms of financial status. If you have any more questions, any clarifications, you can always contact me via email. My email address is chaturvedi.ritesh@gmail.com. I will spell it for you. CHATURVEDI.RITESH@gmail.com. Thank you very much.